Do you have an Instant Pot and you're looking for some quick, delicious, whole food, plant-based meals to cook inside of it? Well, stick around because we're gonna help you out with that today. Greetings and welcome back to PB with Jay. Here on the channel, we focus on all things plant-based goodness. And today, I'm gonna walk you through some of our go-to Instant Pot recipes, some of which are gonna be from our cookbook and some might not be. I'm actually not entirely sure what I'm gonna put into this video because I'm gonna use it over the course of the next week as I just make things that we make anyway, because we use this Instant Pot a lot. Already earlier today for this recipe, I made rice in it. So that's what I recommend if you don't just have some on hand that are leftovers, because you can use that for that as well. So the first recipe that we are making is what I like to call curry in a hurry, and it is in our cookbook. It also has stovetop directions if you don't have an Instant Pot, but I strongly recommend the Instant Pot version if you have that. And you can see the lovely photos, not only our photos, but what's really fun about our cookbook is that we have photos from our recipe testers as well. So you can see how it really turned out. The one thing that drives me nuts in cookbooks is when I see like this glorious photo and then the meal I make looks nothing like the actual dish, which is not what you'll get with our cookbook. And these are available at the link that's on the screen. And we do have hard copies again, even though there's weird shipping things going on with the US, we are still finding ways to ship out there. So if you want a hard copy, you can email me right here and let me know your mailing address and I'm gonna hook you up. And by hook you up, I mean, we're gonna do a bit of an exchange and then I'll get one to you. And on that note, before we get into the recipe, the other thing I'd love you to do is if you have any kind of meals that you were looking for in the Instant Pot, types of meals that maybe you ate before you went whole food plant-based or you want adapted, let me know because I'm just getting ready to get into a big recipe testing mode this fall. So I'm going to be trying a bunch of new recipes out and looking for some inspiration. And if you want to try them early, join us over in the Mighty Network because I'm going to be sharing those recipes as a work in progress and getting people's feedback over there. So you can join us there at the link that's on the screen for the price of a crappy cup of coffee a month. And in addition to getting those recipes in advance, you're also going to get all these other things, most of which is just being part of a great membership and a community of like-minded individuals. And stick around to the end of this video if you want to hear the shout outs, because that's where we're going to start putting them now, just so we can keep the video flowing. All right, curry in a hurry. What I love most about this recipe, other than the fact that you can put it together in like 10 minutes, not counting the cooking time, is that it's really, really flexible using whatever ingredients that you have on hand. I had these rubbery, sad carrots that spoke to me and said, Jeremy, we want to go in your dinner tonight. We're not pristine, we're not perfect, but if you mush us up a little bit, we're gonna be fine. So curry it is. So usually the main vegetable that I put in this is cauliflower, and then anything else goes. I've used mushrooms in this, I've used peppers in this. Like I said, I got carrots tonight, and the other thing I'm using in is I got this yellow summer squash, like yellow zucchini type stuff that I chopped up, so we're gonna put that in here as well. Literally everything goes in the Instant Pot. I already cooked my rice, I took it out, put it into another dish for safekeeping. I gave this a quick little rinse. You don't even need to do that. We're just gonna load everything inside of here. It's so quick. Honestly, it doesn't really matter the order that you put things into the Instant Pot. The only things that you don't put in right away are the red lentils, which I recommend you rinsing. And if you don't have red lentils, you have yellow lentils, that'll work just fine too. Also, don't add the kale or the spinach, and also cilantro and lime. We're gonna save all that for the end. Citrus is always great as a finisher for meals, so like lime or lemon, but you don't wanna cook it into the dish because what's gonna happen is all the nutritional value, however you want to word it, usually leaches out or comes out during the cooking process. So it's a good finisher, which is what we're going to do today with lime, but it's optional. But I just find like, for me, nothing finishes curry like lime does. I'm going to throw my vegetables in first. And for this cauliflower, I just really ripped it up by hand after I cut it in half. So this is roughly 6 cups worth of vegetables. I mean, I probably got a little bit more in here. It's fine, it'll just make the curry a little thicker, which I prefer anyway. We want a whole can of coconut milk. I know some people are anti-coconut milk. We still have it like sparingly, maybe once a week or so. If you don't want to use coconut milk, what you could do is just blend together some water and like a tablespoon of coconut meat, or like, you know, the kind of coconut that comes in the bag, the shredded coconut, unsweetened. And it'll give you some kind of a facsimile, but what we want here is a little bit of fat, right? Which is why we want the coconut. We're gonna throw in a can of diced tomatoes. A can of crushed tomatoes would be fine. This is 28-ounce can. 2 tablespoons of red curry powder. If you wanna use yellow curry powder or green curry powder, that's fine too. It doesn't really matter what kind of curry powder you use. A couple cranks of black pepper. And then in terms of the spices, this is really simple. Everything is like a half of a teaspoon, unless you want to magnify your spices. So I've got a little bit of salt here. You can leave the salt out if you prefer not having the salt in your cooking. And then the spices are just onion powder, garlic, and chili powder. It honestly takes more time to get everything out than it does to assemble this meal. It's awesome that way. It's perfect for a weeknight. And then we're just gonna give it a stir. And then what we're gonna do is we're gonna put our lentils on, just on top. The reason why we put the lentils on top is because I find in the Instant Pot that you get a burn notice if you mix them in. They tend to like float to the bottom. So what I like to do with the lentils is get everything flattened down, and then I just put them on top and I press them down so they get a little bit of liquidated. But if you've liquidated, if you've rinsed them in the sink, they're a little liquidy anyway. And don't worry about them not being inside the liquid themselves, that they're not gonna cook. It's an Instant Pot, that's the whole point, is that the pressure inside of it cooks everything. It doesn't have to be under the liquid like it does in a soup pot, right? All that area in here above gets cooked and heated up too because of the pressure. That's the point of a pressure cooker. Okay, so we're gonna put that on and we're gonna cook that for 5 minutes. Manual setting. My recipe says to do it as a quick release, but if you wanna let it sit for a bit and come down, that's fine too, it's not gonna wreck it. While this is cooking, we're going to chop up some cilantro. If you got some, if you don't, Thai basil would be good in this too. We're gonna cut up some limes to sprinkle in after. And then we're also gonna chop up some kale, or baby spinach is fine too. And then once this is done, what we're going to do is we're going to fold in the spinach or the kale until it wilts, put it in there, and then you can put it into your bowls with some rice or quinoa or any other grain that you want. We have brown rice today. And then to finish it off, I like to sprinkle in a little bit of lime or a little bit of cilantro if you enjoy those things. Let me know what other Indian dishes you would like Instant Pot recipes for, because that is definitely something that I want to do more of, because this is one of my favorite cuisines, and I think the Instant Pot is perfect for it. All right, on to the next recipe. One of my go-to breakfasts while I was losing my weight, as well as maintaining my weight now, is just straight up oatmeal. And honestly, ever since I started making it in the Instant Pot, I have never looked back. This is the kind of thing you can just make single servings of, which is what I generally do because I like it warm and fresh. And I find when it sits in the fridge, it can just kind of like coagulate. I know you can add a little bit of plant milk or water and loosen it up, but it's just part of my routine. Don't routine shame me. But that said, you could always just make like a quadruple batch of this and have it all week long. The general ratio for liquid to oats in the Instant Pot is 2-to-1. So I use a half a cup of rolled oats. You could double the amount of liquid, which I use like half a cup of water and half a cup of plant-based milk. If you're using steel cut oats, then the ratio is 1/3 a cup to 1 cup. So 1/3 a cup of oats to 1 cup of water. So what I do is I mix that in the Instant Pot with, you know, some spices. Cinnamon is always a nice go-to. And then I usually put some flaxseed in there, about a tablespoon. And then I mix it up and I put it on for 3 minutes. And then I let it sit, and I like to let it come down to temperature. And while that oatmeal is cooking, you can take your dogs or yourself for a walk. Your choice. And then I get all my fixins ready. And this is where you can really make oatmeal your own. You know, I usually like an apple in there, and part of the apple process, especially these days, is that my little sidekick down here, this one, She likes apple cores. We use my fancy little machine I got here. These things are great. If you like apples and you hate cutting apples, one of these things, which you can get on Amazon or any kitchen store has these things usually. So here's a trick for the apple, for the dog, is I like to break the core in half and get all the seeds out. So you wouldn't want to give the dog the seeds. If they have a couple, it's not going to kill them by any means. But let's just mitigate the risk, right? You know the drill. Lie down on your belly, all the way. Oh, good girl. There you go. So get a Velma so you have something to do with your apple cores. So one of the little hacks I like to do to get a little extra protein in my breakfast is adding a little bit of protein powder to it. And as you know, around here, my protein powder of choice is Compliment. Oh, camera's looking for me. This is the vanilla variety. We also have chocolate. They also have unflavored. But what I like about this is it has a little bit of flavor, but it doesn't have that chalky protein taste that so many protein powders have. Even my son likes this stuff now that he's going to the gym more often, and he complains about pretty much every protein powder he's ever had. What I like about Compliment is that their products are third-party tested. I like that there's no filler or junk. Literally what they have on the label is what you get inside of it. So it's all, you know, real stuff. It's not a bunch of junk in there. Your protein is coming from real sources. It's cruelty-free, it's naturally vegan, and they have a lot of other great products as well, like their everyday essential capsules, which I have all the time. They have daily greens. They have a great creatine powder, especially if you're coming off of a workout. And I just put it in and it just mixes up and blends in really, really nicely. See, this happened because I went for a longer walk. See how this is oatmeal sticking a little bit in the Instant Pot? That's not normal, but I'll show you the fix. Add a little bit of plant milk and loosen it up, okay? Of course, the one day I decided to show you my breakfast, right? And you can see right here, it's gonna come up. So this is an oatmeal hack video too. See this? Lifts right up. Give it a second. If you add the fruit in there too, the fruit's gonna soften up inside the heat. So in terms of fruit, I put like 3 pieces of fruit in here, usually some apple, sometimes banana, depending on what season it is, and then usually a little bit of frozen fruit. Now, if you're looking at this and you're like, that's a lot of fruit, first of all, don't fruit shame. But second of all, put in less, you know? Just put in 1 piece of fruit if that's all you want, if that's enough for you. For me, I like a big bowl of fruit. And even though this seems like a ton of calories for a weight loss meal, I'm a big believer in front loading my calories for the day. So I like to have the majority of my calories in my first meal of the day. And then I try to eat a little bit less as the day goes on because I'm burning less energy and I don't need those calories as much. And I find this kind of breakfast keeps me full all morning long. I don't need any kind of snack mid-morning. I used to like have a late morning muffin. And I have not had a late morning muffin since I started my weight loss journey and having this kind of thing for breakfast most days. While this is all going, I've been air frying some pecans, just about a handful, which is like 2 tablespoons full. I like to toast my pecans in the air fryer for like 3 minutes, 3 to 4 minutes at like 385. Any longer than that, you can risk burning them, but it's a really quick thing to do if you got an air fryer. Put them on while everything else is going, and then they might be really hot when they come out, but if they're not, you can just break the pecans apart by hand. And then we'll give this another mixy mix. I mean, you could just eat it out of the pot. I will not judge you if you do that. Less dishes, I get it. And then you're gonna put in your bowl, and then I like to have it with a little bit of hemp seed on top. So if you want to give this protein powder or any of the amazing Compliment products a spin, use our link in the description down below. Obviously, the QR code that's been on the screen the entire time works just as well. And if you used our discount code that's also in the description down below, they're gonna hook you up with a sweet discount. This is how much. How nice is that? Very nice of them. Thanks, Compliment. What do you like to put in your oatmeal? Let me know in the comments down below. And so for our last quick go-to Instant Pot recipe that I'm gonna show you tonight, it's actually something we've been making for about as long as we've had an Instant Pot, and it's one of our kids' favorite recipes. It's actually from a different website. It's not our recipe. It's from Eating Instantly is the name of the website, and I'll put a link in the description down below. And this is a vegetable bean soup. The one thing you're gonna wanna do is cook your beans in advance. So earlier today, I put a cup and a bit worth of kidney beans into the Instant Pot, just with tons of water, and put them on for 30 minutes. And then I'm gonna take them out and set them aside because I don't actually wanna cook them with the rest of this soup. Because what happens if you put like beans that are already cooked inside of the Instant Pot is they can get really, really mushy. So we're actually just gonna add them in at the end. Now, the longest part of making this recipe is literally just cutting up the vegetables, which doesn't take that much time. So while I'm cutting the vegetables, I'm gonna give a quick hello to some of you who said hello to us in the comments down below. Sadie from Bellarkey, Maine, which she says is a sister city of Bellarkey in the United Kingdom. Ducklob from Pennsylvania. Isabel from Utah, who is originally from Quebec, apparently. Regina from Cape Cod. Glad Lisa from Texas. Hollis from Kauai, Hawaii. M. Delaware from Tatamaguchi, Nova Scotia. I'm 90% sure I said Tatamaguchi properly. Let me know in the comments down below. Joanne from Rancho Cordova, California. Glenda from Allen, Saskatchewan, originally from Guelph, Ontario. Digily from Nanaimo, BC. Susie from Lewisburg, Pennsylvania. And Josie in Georgetown, Texas. If you'd like a shout out here on the channel, all you have to do is say hello to us in the comments down below. Let us know who you are, where you're watching from, and what are some of your go-to recipes, whether it's Instant Pot or not. And if you want to bump up in that shout out list, consider joining us over in the Mighty Network for that perk, along with many others. The most important of which is just being part of a group of like-minded individuals. And this fall, I'm starting to put a bunch of recipes up there regularly so I can basically take advantage of the members and turn them into recipe testers for an upcoming book project that I'm slowly working on. And you can get all of that fun stuff for the price of a crappy cup of coffee a month. So I'm making a soup like this for the Instant Pot. As I start to cut my vegetables, I just put them into a bowl because they're all gonna go in together anyway. So there's no point in like trying to fit them all into your cutting board or anything like that. For some reason, I like to cut the onion last. Keep all of your scraps and put them in a little bowl and then put them in a bag in your freezer. And then you can make vegetable broth out of them like I did here. And we're gonna use that broth to make this soup. And I made that broth in the Instant Pot, which you'll see in the other video that I'm making about just general Instant Pot hacks and tips. So everything is going in here. We've got our onions, all those vegetables you saw us cut up. So peppers, carrots, celery. We got a frozen cup of both peas and corn. You might have seen me cut up those frozen beans. We're not gonna put those in right away. We're gonna put those in after, along with the beans. We got a can of diced tomatoes. And as far as spices go, this is where I'm gonna deviate a little bit from the recipe because she just has like 1 teaspoon of spices all together. I like a lot of spices. And I'm gonna be lazy today. I'm not gonna put in chopped up garlic clove. I'm just gonna put in a teaspoon and a half, I think, of garlic powder, and that should do it. So she called for a teaspoon of Italian seasoning, which is great. I'm gonna use a teaspoon each of oregano, basil, and thyme, and about a half a teaspoon of marjoram. And then I'm gonna put in just a little bit of salt. If you don't use salt, that's totally fine. Not crucial. I'm gonna put in like a half a teaspoon in here, and a couple cracks of black pepper, and then we'll just season it more after, or people can season their own. Okay, and the last thing we're gonna add is my vegetable stock. So when I make my own, these mason jars are about 4 cups each. So I'm just gonna eyeball it and put in 1.5 of these, which is roughly 6 cups. And then we're gonna mix it up. And then the beautiful thing about this is it cooks in 2 minutes. That's all it takes. So I have to go run some errands. So I'm gonna put it on a timer because these things can just marinate. Nothing's gonna get hurt in here. Nothing's gonna overcook by just soaking. The flavors marinating is not gonna be a bad thing. And then you can do a quick release or a natural release. I tend to prefer a natural release. And then once it's done, we're gonna add in the beans, both the kidney beans and the green beans, and then we'll just serve it. And that's that. It's so easy to make Instant Pot soup like this. And you can swap out these vegetables with whatever you got in your hand. You can put mushrooms in here, you can put some peppers in here, zucchini, delicious. Let us know in the comments down below if you found this video helpful, if you would like more videos like this in the future with me just throwing together a couple quick Instant Pot meals. If you got some Instant Pot meals that you love, that you'd like me to share with other people, throw them in the comments down below as well, because maybe I will do that in an upcoming video. If you haven't hit that like button, do so, because it helps let YouTube know to share this with other people. Make sure you're subscribed. A lot of people think they're subscribed and they're not. So make sure you hit that subscribe button to get more videos like this. And since you're still hanging out, YouTube's got this video all queued up for you to check out next. I hope you enjoy it. It's a good one. It's picked specifically for you.